Hi there, this is Ranjit, and in this video, I'm going to share my quick impressions after using this iPhone 8 for about 36 hours. And I've been using this with my primary SIM, that is Airtel. And I asked you guys if you had any questions. So on Twitter, quite a few of you have also posted. So I'll be answering those questions also. But first, let me share my experience about this iPhone 8 Plus after about 36 of usage. And the first thing that I immediately noticed is the weight. This iPhone 8 Plus is a heavy phone. Even if you're coming from the iPhone 7 Plus, you will feel that it is heavy. In fact, it weighs 202 grams. So definitely, I would say go to a store, first check if you're comfortable with it. I got used to this weight because I was actually using the Note 8 prior to this one, and the Note 8 is also a heavy device, but many people feel that the Note 8 is also a heavy device, so this is even heavier. You might put a case, so that will even add the weight, so just be wary a little bit of weight. I don't know why, it just feels a little bit on the heavier side. You will get used to it, but yeah, it is a heavy phone. Second thing that I really loved on this one, and even the iPhone 7 and the 7 Plus had that dual speaker setup, but on this one it's even improved and it's slightly louder, and I would say it has a little bit of depth in the sound. So in terms of the speakers, I was watching a lot of YouTube videos. In fact, I was trying to kill the battery of this. I'll talk about the battery life later. And I have to say the speakers are one of the best sounding on a smartphone. They give you that stereo imaging, and clarity is there, and also a little bit of depth is there. So really impressed with the speakers on this 8 Plus. Now, if we talk about the battery life on this one, here also call me impressed. It's been about just 1.5 days since I've been using it, so it's not a complete picture, I would say, but I'll give you my initial impressions. I took this off the charger at about 7 o'clock in the morning. I started using this phone. It was charged completely till 100%. In fact, I took it off the charger at about 4:30 in the morning, and I just slept and woke up at 7 a.m. and idle drain was not there. It was still at 100%. So I was heavily using the phone yesterday from morning 7 o'clock, and I decided not to use my iPad Pro or other stuff that I generally use for watching videos and stuff. I was exclusively just using this one. I actually wanted to kill its battery, and at the end of the day, at night, it was around 11:30 or so, it still had 18% of the battery life. Again, Apple does not accurately shows the screen on time that we get on Android and the graphs, but it was showing that the active usage was about 12 hours. It's not the screen on time. If roughly I would have to translate that into screen on time, it is anywhere between 6 to 7 hours. So needless to say, in terms of battery life, I am like super impressed with this one. Even if you're sort of a heavy user, I would say the battery life will last easily for a day. So yeah, really impressed with the battery life. And I was coming from the Note 5. With similar usage with this Note 8, I would have to top it up. But this one lasted me easily for a full working day. And I think so the new Bionic A11 Bionic chip is also helping, because I've heard reports from other users who have migrated from the iPhone 7 to the iPhone 8. They are also experiencing that good battery life. So I feel that's thanks to that A11 Bionic chip. So very good battery life. One thing that I've noticed is that, and that was very surprising because I even used the iPhone 7 last year, and generally iPhones never lag. But with this iPhone 8 Plus, there is a very minor UI lag that I'm noticing at times. And I feel that is a bug in iOS 11. Because I was also using the iPad Pro 10.5, and it was on iOS 10.3 point something, and just about last week I upgraded to iOS 11, and I started noticing some UI lag even on my iPad Pro 10.5. So I think so it's an optimization issue, and I posted about this on Twitter, and quite a few of you also mentioned that yes, after upgrading your iPhones, you are noticing some UI lag and battery drain with iOS 11. So it's a bug, I think so. And somebody told me in the iOS 11.1, that's a beta release, they have solved that. So I think so that lag issue that I mentioned on Twitter also should be solved with a software update. But one place where I found one thing very interesting is that in terms of RAM management, again, it might be an iOS bug as of now. It is not as good as I expected. Generally with iPhones, you can just keep on loading apps, just moving between 7 or 8 apps, and if you even come back to the first app, it's mostly in memory. But that was not the case on this one. Frequently when I was jumping between the apps and stuff, After fourth or fifth app, it used to actually reload stuff. So that was a little bit surprising. So I hope that can improve after a software update. Again, these are minor niggling issues. Generally with iOS, they happen. So I am not going to be very critical about it as of now. Let's wait for the iOS updates and then I'll comment about the minor UI lag that I noticed. It's just about 3 or 4% time, and that RAM loading issue. Now moving to the audio, again, we know we don't get that 3.5mm headphone jack even with this iPhone 8, 8 Plus, and even the iPhone 10 that is coming out. But the supplied lightning, earpods that you get with this one are actually really good. Not the most comfortable for me, but in terms of sound quality, they were very good. Excellent sound reproduction. I also have some good pair of headphones. If you follow me, you know I'm picky about sound, and I use that adapter that is given lightning to 3.5, and using that also the audio output was actually very good. So if you listen to a lot of music and if you're sort of critical about music, you love the audio output via this one. In that respect, it easily blows the Note 8. With the Note 8, the audio output is sort of flat, but this one I really enjoyed the music via the headphone jack. Now moving to, some of you have asked about this, any heating issues. Again, I did not notice any heating issues with this device with the regular usage. I was using it with my primary SIM. Yes, while you charge it, it becomes a little bit warm, but that's sort of normal with most of the phones. With regular usage, I absolutely did not face any heating issues with this one. And now moving to the charging time, some of you have asked about it. Charging times are simply not that great. The supplied charger is not a fast charger. I didn't time it exactly, but it took slightly over 2.5 hours to charge this one when it was for about 12%. So maybe for a full charge, close to about 3 hours. But one thing I've noticed is that if you use some of the fast chargers I have, it was charging a little bit faster. I'll have to test it. And Apple also supplies, you have to buy a new lightning cable and a USB charger that is in US for about what, $29 or $49. If you use that, this one does support fast charging. I'll be buying that cable because I'm actually flying to US for some work for the next couple of days. So I will be buying that cable, but I'll try some of the Android fast chargers that I have and test how fast this one charges. And some of you were asking me, should we upgrade to this iPhone 8 Plus? I would say if you already have an iPhone 7 Plus, don't upgrade. It won't be a huge upgrade, and also in terms of looks, it's almost the same. The back is just glass, which actually, frankly speaking, makes it a little bit fragile if you use it without the case. But if you're having an iPhone 6 Plus or a 6, 8 Plus and you don't want to shell out that huge amount for the iPhone 10 that will be coming, then I feel it's a good upgrade. But again, go to a store, guys, first and pick it up and see. It is slightly on the heavier side. Next thing is, quite a few of you have asked me about this. How is the camera if we compare with the 7 Plus? I would say in terms of camera, there's not a huge difference that you'll notice if you compare it with the 7 Plus, but yes, there is slight improvement, particularly with the rear facing camera. The dynamic range is slightly better, and this one, if you shoot video, there is an improvement because of the new A11 Bionic chip. This can actually shoot video in 4K up to 60 frames per second and slow motion up to 240 frames per second at 1080p. So yeah, in those aspects, it has improved. And again, one thing to note, you guys know, if you buy an iPhone, it's still a single SIM device, and many people in India are actually using a dual SIM. So again, if you're like that, you'll have to use another phone. For example, as I told you, I moved from the Note 8 and this had a dual SIM. My main SIM is Airtel 4G, and I also use a Jio SIM. So my main SIM right now in this one and the Jio SIM is in this one. So that is one thing you have to be aware of. And also in terms of looks and design, let's call it boring. It's nothing that new that you would notice. In fact, when my wife saw this phone, why did you get the old iPhone? She was telling that. So yeah, in terms of looks, it's very similar to the iPhone 7 Plus. Yes, the glass back is there, but again, if you are really looking to that new design and looks, then look for the iPhone 10. So these were my very quick impressions. I would say overall very happy with the battery life. And it's a nice phone, but again, if you already have the iPhone 7 Plus, I don't see this one as a very compelling upgrade. Yes, the camera is slightly improved, but not like a huge margin, I would say. Now let me take some user questions that I was getting on this one. And this is by Saurabh. He's asking, how's the iOS 11 on the iPhone 8 Plus? I've heard that it's giving some troubles on the rest of the phone. As I've told you, there is slightly a bug with the iOS 11, and even with this one, minor times I'm noticing that UI lag. Also notice that UI lag on the iPad 10.5, and I've heard that the iOS 11.1 beta that is currently has solved those issues. So hopefully in the next couple of weeks we should get that update even on this one. Next is by Dheeraj. How is the Touch ID? Is it fast? Yes, Touch ID was even fast on the iPhone 7 and 7 Plus. No issue. Again, let me show you. It just works, as you can see. It's really fast, works. It's 100% sort of reliable. Every time it has worked. As you can see, I don't even have to see the phone, and I know it will unlock. So no issues regarding the Touch ID. This is by Anurag. He's asking, compare both cameras to be frank, especially in portrait or in normal. I think so he's referring to the Note 8's camera and this one, because I got quite a few questions. Which one is better in camera? Let me divide it into two parts. Amit Bhavani was also there when I unboxed it. So we were taking a lot of pictures with both the Note 8 and this one. Specifically just in camera, that is rear facing camera, I would say I would give the slight edge to the Note 8. The pictures came out slightly better looking, I would say, and also the bokeh effect was slightly better produced on this Note 8. And I like the fact that in the Note 8 also has that portrait mode. In that Samsung allows you to adjust the background blur, but on this, as of now, that option is not there. It's not like a day and night difference, but yeah, definitely both Amit and myself were preferring the pictures from the rear facing camera on this bar. But if we talk about video, then I feel the this iPhone 8 Plus has an edge, because this one supports 4K video at 60 frames per second and the slow motion at 240 frames per second at 1080p, which the Note 8 simply cannot do. So yeah, it depends, I would say. And again, for multimedia consumption, because of that dual speaker sound, I would again give the edge to this iPhone 8 Plus. I don't know why Samsung didn't put that dual speaker. The screen is fabulous on this one, the AMOLED screen. Akhil is asking, is it a worthy upgrade if you already have the iPhone 7 Plus? If you already have the iPhone 7 Plus, I would say skip this, and if you really want to upgrade, then go with the iPhone 10 that will be launching if you have the budget for that. This is by Nipum. How does it fare against the Note 8 camera and battery? Note 8 camera, I've already talked about it. Battery department, obviously this iPhone 8 Plus goes ahead compared to this one. With the Note 8, yes, it was lasting me for a typical day, but I was a little bit conservative. But on this one, I was actually trying to kill its battery, heavily use it, then also it didn't die. So definitely in terms of battery, the iPhone is the winner. Aman is asking, what about 4K 60 FPS? Yes, this can do 4K at 60 FPS. But guys, I'll go a little bit technical about this. But the thing is that the codec that it uses is the H.265. And the thing is that if you want to play back that content, you need a very powerful computer. And for even editing those files, the normal videos that we shoot are in H.264, but this one shoots in H.265 for that 4K at 60 frames and that slow motion at 240 frames for 1080p. So you need a computer that is actually pretty powerful. And if you're trying to do video editing with those files, it's a pain as of now, because I use a Mac. And still the Final Cut Pro that is there does not natively support that codec. So when you import that footage in Final Cut, it does not play properly. Half the time it comes at blank. You have to convert it. So yeah, obviously this does. But again, make sure you have a powerful computer if you plan to edit those 4K 60 FPS files, because it puts a lot of strain on the computer. And somebody actually asked me about wireless charging also. This is very funny. How much time does it take to charge wirelessly? To be frank, guys, I didn't even bother to test that. The reason is, even with the supplied charger, as I've told you, it takes about close to 3 hours to charge. And wireless charging is extremely slow. And with the wireless charger, it's not designed to charge it fully, I would say. It's just for top-ups. With wireless charging, I would say it will take easily about 6 odd hours to charge. So yeah, that's what it is. And the last question is from Sudeep. He is asking, your thoughts being an Android user? But yeah, I've been an Android user. I use a lot of Android phones. Overall, I like the phone. I like the camera is good enough. The battery life, I'm really impressed. Almost no idle drain when it's just sitting. That's not the case with almost most of the Android phones. But one thing that really annoys me, it's about iOS, it's not about this iPhone, is the notifications. I feel notifications are handled a lot better on Android. Here the notifications are just, I don't know, I just don't like the notification systems on the iPhones, iOS, I have to say. And also I'm so used to that physical LED notification light on almost every high-end Android phone. You have that, but on this one we simply don't have that. And also with this iPhone 8 Plus, we don't have that always on screen, for example, that we have on Samsung flagship. So that is one thing that I miss. So yeah, you get used to it, but yeah, I do miss those features. I'm actually going to be traveling to US for the next couple of days, so I'll be using this one as my primary phone, and I'll be posting more about that. When I come back from US, I'll be posting the full in-depth review, and I feel that will be a very good test, real world usage test, mostly on mobile data. We'll be taking a lot of pictures with this one, so we'll be posting that, so stay tuned for that. And if you are still not subscribed to my YouTube channel, hit that subscribe button. Thanks for watching. This is Ranjit, and I hope to see you in my next video.